All right, ready?
Yep.
What's up, Chris?
What's up, dude?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm pretty good, too. Welcome to the Local Pickup. I'm Jason Broadwater.
I'm Chris Gervais.
And this is a guitar that was
Oh,
made... Finally.
finally.
This is a guitar that was made in the 1930s,
Wow.
which is a long time ago.
Yes.
It is a Stella. So Stella guitars became the biggest guitar maker in the 20s.
Really?
Yeah, in the country, in the U.S. And they made mid to low range guitars. And their guitars cost a fraction of what a Gibson or a Martin would have cost. And they made a ton of guitars through the 20s, through the 30s. So the guitar replaced the banjo as being the primary kind of folk instrument. And Gibson and Martin were very established, successful companies making expensive guitars. And Oscar Schmidt created Stella, bought Stella, created Stella, I'm not real sure. Sure some internet people will have opinions and input on which one of those things are
You may have
true.
just seen Stella and been like, hey, you want to...
Yeah, hey Stella.
Hey, Stella.
Stella.
Okay, so we're good. I think it was something like that.
They were making lower end, mid-range to lower end instruments and making a ton of them. And that's why everybody from that era played a Stella. I mean, like Charlie Patton, Blind Willie, every Howlin' Wolf, all of the fundamental blues artists that influenced rock and roll and everything to come out of that, all were playing Stellas because most of them aren't going to be from backgrounds, families,
Right.
jobs that can buy Gibsons and Martins.
They just needed a guitar.
Yeah, until they got successful, and the first thing they could get their hands on one of those, often they would. But yeah, so Stellas are iconic, absolutely iconic, because of that reason. It's what all those folks played, and then all the way up to like Kurt Cobain playing one when he recorded some of his songs, because of course it was at that point cool that Leadbelly played one.
Super a little bit.
Yeah, it was like, retro or whatever that is, which is great. I love it. Same reason why I love it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this one is from the 30s. It looks like it's made out of plywood if you look at the grain, but it's not. It's made out of like a birch or something that has the same kind of grains as plywood. I've seen a lot of that online.
It's interesting where beneath, is that from finger picking or a pick? Because that's like I think that was a Willie Nelson trigger wearing.
Yeah, I think
so
it's from people pushing and like holding right here and finger picking.
Yeah.
Or it could come from a pick as well.
Yeah.
But I know when I finger pick, like I got to put my fingers on the guitar. So are they back here?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's where the pick guard goes on an acoustic guitar. So maybe that's where the pick hits the hardest.
I'm sure the pick would hit there, and fingers are on there, and fingers
True.
are up here too.
True.
But it's painted around here. It's got a painted fingerboard. So it's a what's called a concert, from what I can figure out. And concerts did not have a pin bridge; they had a tailpiece. Well, this guitar's got 4 holes right here where it had a tailpiece.
Oh, okay, I see.
And so I think it's a concert that was originally a tailpiece that came up, and they took the tailpiece off and they put a pin bridge on here, mounted to the face. And because of that, we keep silk and steel strings on it, just not to put too much pressure. They're just a little softer than like a regular steel string, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta wonder if it had that tailpiece there, that bridge there, originally, would that body be in such good shape?
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting.
Because I know. It seems to me, I'm not a physicist, but it seems like that.
Wait a minute. What?
Get off the show.
Yes. The only reason.
Yeah, but that seems to me, it seems reasonable that the traditional old tailpiece that's anchored at the back of the body would stand the test of time better.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong about
but
that.
I mean, well, when they started X-bracing guitars, and Martin was a big part of that, that was a solution around making the pin bridge be as stable as a tailpiece bridge. And it's worked great. I mean, a lot of old guitars have pin bridges and are going to be fine. But this is a ladder braced guitar, which was the European style of guitar. So it's not like it was just a cheaper way to do it, because it was innovative when Martin came up with X bracing and all that. But that was the way you made guitars, not just because it was a less good way and we hadn't invented a better way. Like, a lot of people still believe that's a more traditional way, is to do ladder bracing. Well, that ladder bracing is not as strong as X bracing, and so you get into issues of if the pin bridge might pull up the face of the guitar.
Yeah, I've seen that more than anything else.
Yeah. So, there's a lot to it, and there's people that are purists around ladder bracing, or that are purists around X bracing, or whatever the case. But I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
I only know what I've read so far.
Right. Yeah.
It's all original, aside from the fact that the whole bridge kind of system's been changed. It's a glued-on pin bridge now. But it's amazing how well it plays. Oh, and it's got a V-shaped, big, thick V-shaped neck, because there's no truss rod in here, and the neck is straight as an arrow.
Wow.
Because it's like a baseball bat with a V, with a V, which makes it even more sturdy than a round.
Right.
And it is just beautifully straight. It plays beautifully.
That finish on the fingerboard, that's painted, and that's original.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's why it's worn off, is because it was just paint. But it gives it a super cool look.
Yeah. Oh, I love seeing that. I love it's definitely one of those rare instances where, I mean, it's one thing where the story of the guitar is all these little scratches and nicks or whatever, but to truly see where people have been playing it, which is generally the same stuff.
Right, the cowboy chords, yeah.
Yeah, but I just still, I love that. I just think that's so interesting.
It is cool. I mean, it's definitely cool looking, just as a vintage. It's something you would see hanging up as easily in a guitar store as you would see it in like a antique barn somewhere out in rural somewhere. Yeah. And it's not even because they're musicians, it's just because it's an old cool thing.
Yeah.
That would be part of an estate sale or whatever.
Yeah.
And being a Stella's cool because of Stella's role in music in the U.S., I mean, and in the world. I mean, the blues tradition is just the anchor of so much music in the world.
The foundation of modern music.
Yeah, it's really insane. And these guitars were just symbolic with it, or whatever I'm trying to say. They were tied together.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool stuff, man. Very cool guitar. It's a real sturdy guitar. So if you want to play chords with a pick, everything.
Although I think it really shines in sort of melodic finger picking.
Yeah.
Which could be the strings you have on it, I don't know.
Yeah, they're a softer, chiller kind of string, but still, it's spaced nicely, the strings are, and it's got a nice sound. And being of a parlor size, I think it just always lends itself to finger picking, and how just pretty it can sound. The more you bang on it, the more MIDI it's going to sound, versus like a big dreadnought that's got that bass behind it.
MIDI as in mid-level tones.
Mid-level tones.
It doesn't create MIDI tracks.
It doesn't create MIDI tracks. Yeah, right. It's
Which
not,
I was very disappointed in.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, come on. Yeah. How do you plug it in? No, I mean, mid-level, slappy MIDI will start to come out of it. Though it does have a nice balanced tone. Got some.
Yeah. It just, the softer you play it, the more you can feel those
that
dynamics.
balance,
come out,
yeah. I agree.
But yeah, I agree. When you start sort of strumming it, then it's more mid-range.
Yeah, it gets real slappy and all. Yeah, so it's a beautiful guitar. And I think it'll live forever. I mean, again, even though it was modified from a tailpiece setup to a pin bridge, it's just sturdy and nice. And I think as long as I think keeping silk and steel on it versus just straight up steel strings versus, like a very heavy gauge steel string or something would be bad for it. But other than that, I mean, I think this guitar could last for another 100 years and sound as beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably a very moderately priced instrument in its day, less than half the price of what a Martin or Gibson would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the 1930s Stella. Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, we'll see you next time on the Local Pickup.